This is Mystery Truth. Volcano warning as smaller eruptions risk cascading us towards catastrophe. Smaller volcanic eruptions could pose a greater risk to global society and risk cascading us towards catastrophe, according to a study released by the University of Cambridge. NASA has confirmed that the recent volcanic eruption in Tonga was hundreds of times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima during World War II. More than 4/5 of the Tongan population have been affected by the subsequent tsunami and falling ash. Just 7 years ago, new land emerged in the South Pacific, linking the island of Hunga Tonga and Hunga Ha'apai together. The recent eruption destroyed the new land and large chunks of much of the two older islands, NASA said. It has widely been believed that the bigger the eruption or eruption risk, the worse it will be for society. Yet, research published in the journal Nature Communications by the University of Cambridge last year suggested too much focus is being placed on the risk of bigger, rarer eruptions. Researchers at the British University Centre for the Study of Existential Risk (CSER) argued too little attention is given to more moderate eruptions in various regions and the potential domino effects that could result from this. They identified 7 pinch points where clusters of small active volcanoes sit near crucial infrastructure. These regions include Taiwan, North Africa, the North Atlantic, and parts of the northwestern United States. Dr. Lara Mani, the lead author of the report, called on the world to change how we view extreme volcanic risk. She said in 2021, we need to move away from thinking in terms of colossal eruptions destroying the world as portrayed in Hollywood films. The more probable scenarios involve lower magnitude eruptions interacting with our societal vulnerabilities and cascading us towards catastrophe. Dr. Mani added, even a minor eruption in one of the areas we identify could erupt enough ash or generate large enough tremors to disrupt networks that are central to global supply chains and financial systems. At the moment, calculations are too skewed towards giant explosions or nightmare scenarios, when the more likely risk comes from moderate events that disable major international communications, trade networks, or transport hubs. This is true of earthquakes and extreme weather, as well as volcanic eruption. Larger eruptions with a volcanic explosivity index of 8, the largest value on the index, tend to be associated with the most catastrophic eruptions. The most recent eruption to measure 8 on the VEI was the Taupo eruption of around 26,500 BCE in New Zealand. The most recent eruption to measure 7 on the VEI, meanwhile, was the Mount Tambora eruption of 1815. Yet, Dr. Mani and her colleagues argue smaller eruptions reaching up to 6 on the VEI could easily cause catastrophic destruction. When Mount Pinatubo erupted in 1991, it measured 6 on the VEI, but its distance from vital infrastructure meant it caused less overall damage than others. The 2010 eruption of Iceland Eyjafjallajökull volcano, meanwhile, was 100 times less in scale than Mount Pinatubo, but caused greater damage as northwesterly winds carried ash clouds and caused European airspace to be closed. The Mediterranean was also identified as another pinch point. Both Vesuvius and Santorini could produce eruptions large enough to cause tsunamis that could seal off the Suez Canal, the report warned. Dr. Mani wrote, we saw what a 6-day closure to the Suez Canal did earlier this year, that was last year, when a single stock container ship cost up to $10 billion a week in global trade. Likewise, eruptions in the American state of Washington could cause enormous ash clouds that have the potential to cover Seattle in ash, shutting down both airports and seaports. Modeling estimated that an eruption of Mount Rainier, 59 miles south of Seattle, could cause economic losses of up to $7 trillion in the 5 years that follows an eruption. Researchers also identified the Luzon Strait in the South China Sea as another risk, as well as the Malacca Strait, through which 40% of global trade passes each year. Slightly closer to home, they warned that a reawakening of the Icelandic volcanoes could disrupt some of the busiest air routes in the West. An increase in seismic activity was detected in the Reykjanes Peninsula at the end of last year, though this seemed to have fizzled out since. Wow. Whatever I have to say concerning this, you drop your comments in the comment section, and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much.